Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Tyler, and this is my preview for UFC 149, which takes place in Calgary, so it's kind of a big deal. Before I start kind of previewing some of the fights, I want to say that this card is best to not to think of it as what it was, what it could have been, and just kind of embrace it for what it is. Because it's not a terrible, terrible card, but if you compare it against what it should have been, it's complete fucking garbage. So, injuries killed it, you know? If you think of it like that, it's not a good card. But just it's not bad. It has some weird matchups and some shitty matchups, but it's not a terrible card, all things considered. So, obviously there's going to be some fighters on this that I'm not as familiar with, so I won't be able to comment as much. But whatever, let's do this. Okay. Mitch Clark versus Anton Kuvanen? Kuvanen? Whatever. To be honest, not really too sure about these guys. Kind of hoping for just a good fight. Sorry. Then the next fight, Antonio Carvalho versus Daniel Pineda. This should be a good fight. I mean, both guys come to fight. You know, Carvalho he's kind of had a tough go of things throughout his career. I mean, at the beginning he was undefeated for a little while. Then he lost to Jeff Curran, and then he's had a patchy career since. Now, with that said, he's beat Hatsu Hayoki in a split decision, which is no joke because even though Hayoki lost the last fight, I'm still Warren Hayoki. I still think he's one of the best in the world in his weight class, And he beat Hayoki in Japan. There seems to be a curse with Hayoki fighting in the United States for some reason. So Carvalho has had kind of a patchy career, and you know he's going up against a really tough guy. And I keep looking over there because I keep wanting to go back to the fight card. So he's taking on a very tough guy. This should be a good fight, but I got Pineda winning this. Next fight is Brian Caraway versus Mitch Gagnon. Not really sure who I got in this. I'll go with Brian Caraway. Fuck it, why not? I don't care. I don't know too much about either of these guys. Brian Caraway's name is familiar. The next fight is Ryan Jimmo versus Anthony Parash. Now, Parash is seen as, you know, one of the best fighters to come out of Australia. And Ryan Jimmo, I just don't like. I don't like Ryan Jimmo. I've been following him since his MFC days. He's an okay fighter by all means, but I don't like him. Something about him I just don't like. I don't think he's gonna really make much of an impact in the UFC. Now I could be wrong, but whatever. I got Anthony Parash taking this. At least I hope Anthony Parash takes this, because I do like Parash, and I hate Jimmo, so there you go. Next fight is Roland Delorme, just checking the time, versus Francisco Rivera. I got Delorme, whatever. I'm spending too much time on the undercard, so let's keep going. Court McGee versus Nick Ring should be a decent fight. Good matchmaking. Court McGee's name makes me laugh because I'm a child at heart. McGee just makes me laugh. Nick Ring, you know, decent fighter, whatnot. I don't know who I got on that. Fuck, I'll take Nick Ring. I don't give a shit. Now, main card. Chris Clements versus Matt Riddle. Somehow, this fight is a main card fight. I don't fucking know. Like, you honestly, as much as I don't like Jimmo, you could have put Jimmo on there, because at least he was a star in MFC and he was coming over. You could have put Daniel Pineda or someone on the main card, but instead you put Matt fucking Riddle. Now, Matt Riddle, he wants to fight to entertain. I give him that. I give him the fact that he comes out, and he wants to put on a fight. He comes forward, but his sloppy as shit striking just isn't gonna get him anywhere. But with that said, he does come to fight. Don't know how he's fucking on the main card. I got him losing to Chris Clements, who I'm not a big fan of, but I got Clements winning this. Now the next fight, Brian Ebersol versus James Head. Now, This is actually one of the fights that I think got better. Whenever you put Brian Ebersol into a fight, that fight gets better. Doesn't matter. I mean, Brian Ebersol is amazing. From his crazy, crazy fighting style to his crazy chest hair. Ebersol is great. And Claude Patrick was supposed to fight James Head, but it's better now that Ebersol's in it. So I'm warring Ebersol in this. I got him winning. I love Ebersol. So yeah. I mean, James Head is no joke, but I just think Ebersol's going to take it because he's the man. Next fight, Czech Kongo versus Sean Jordan. This was a fight that Big Nog was supposed to be in against Czech, if I'm correct there. So obviously this fight got worse because it's always a pleasure to see Big Nog. And even though I said at the beginning of the video to not compare what it could have been to what it is, I seem to be doing it. I can't help myself. Should be a good fight because Kongo comes to fight. Sometimes he's a little dirty, but he does come to fight. And Sean Jordan also comes to fight. He had a nice key lock against Lombard Johnson in Strikeforce. He won his UFC debut, so he's on he's had a good couple wins there. But I got Czech Kongo. Yeah, I think. Plus, Czech Kongo is just the scariest looking guy. I know this doesn't mean anything for fighting, unless you're like Mike fucking Tyson or something. But Czech Kongo's a scary fucking guy. I'm just throwing that out there. Now we get to the co-main event. This is a big fight. This is a huge fight, I think. Hector Lombard versus Tim Boetsch. Tim Boetsch, of course, coming off that crazy comeback victory and whatnot. I don't think he's had another fight since. My memory's shitty. Hector Lombard is on a ridiculous streak. And he's only lost to Gegard Mousasi and I can't remember who else. But whatever. And he's never been finished. This is interesting because the main event and the co-main event have the kind of massive streak, really hyped guys going against more proven fighters. I mean, Tim Boetsch is a good fighter and whatnot. And Hector Lombard has a ridiculous streak, but he's been fighting in Bellator against guys who are mostly alright, but not top of the food chain. But he still has solid wins. I'm not one of these guys who's you got to be top 10 ranked to be an amazing fighter, because honestly the difference between a top 10 and top 15 is probably very slim to none, because there's so many fighters and people get too fucking caught up in rankings and shit. But Lombard, if he doesn't gas and he fights smart, he'll win this. I'm not sure how good Lombard will do in the UFC. This fight's really going to tell me a lot. Because, he has looked poor when he hasn't been able to finish somebody in the first round or two when he's gassed, because he goes out just throwing. He's got world-class skills. He's a great grappler and he's got lots of power. And Tim Boetsch can apparently take a beating and come back and inflict a beating. I'm very interested to see if Tim Boetsch weathers the storm or if Lombard takes him out fairly quickly. Exciting fight. And then we got the main event. A fight that I'm more excited for than Uriah Faber versus Dominic Cruz. The main event is Uriah Faber versus Renan Barao. And I say because I didn't like the last Dominic Cruz versus Uriah Faber fight, so I'm glad they're not fighting again right now. If Faber wins this, he'll get another fight with Cruz and I'll sleep during it or whatever. But this is another fight where you got a massively hyped guy with a crazy streak going against a proven veteran who's been in there with the best. Renan Barao, of course, being the guy with the massive streak. He's fought a ton of guys that don't even have Wikipedia pages. Just throwing that out there as a funny little comment. But since he's been in the WEC/UFC, he has taken on some good competition. He's beaten Scott Jorgensen and Brad Pickett. They're not bad wins. And the way that he looks Like, he's got slick ground skills. The way he was on Brad Pickett, I think it was, and took his back instantly was fucking incredible. Slick armbar in a fight with, can't remember who. I just remember the armbar. You know, crazy stand-up. I mean, ask Jorgensen how much spinning shit Barao likes to throw. Flying knees, you know, spinning kicks, spinning back fists. Comes to brawl, comes to fight. Obviously, I like Barao. I don't like Uriah Faber, but I won't deny he's talented and he generally comes to fight. The problem is, will Faber be able to take him down and control Barao? Or will it be a stand-up fight? When you got two grapplers, that tends to happen. I think stand-up really favors Barao. A wrestler can often neutralize good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Uriah Faber's got good sub-defense, so he could take him down. But I hate Faber. I don't know why. I think it's unfair that he's in a fight with anybody because you're fighting him and his butt chin, and that's just not fair. And I shouldn't be criticizing someone for the way they look. I'm just joking, people. But anyway, Uriah Faber, good fighter. Renan Barao, this is going to kind of tell us a lot of where he truly stands. Joe Hogan says he's the best fighter without a championship. That could be true. He fights out of a good camp. Anyway, that's UFC Calgary, UFC 149. I hope the fights are good. My screen just went off. Bam, I'm back. And hope you enjoy the fights. Thanks for watching this long-ass fucking preview. And peace out.